Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we got Josh.
Hey.
We got the results of Payback to get through, and then quite an action-packed Raw as we look ahead to Clash of Champions down the line. But let's open up with the pre-show of Payback. It was the Riot Squad versus the IIconics, with the Riot Squad coming out on top.
Yeah, big things are heading in the future for the Riot Squad.
Well, yeah, we talk about already looking ahead to like Clash of Champions and who's going to be the champions heading into that and who's going to be their challengers. And without talking about, I guess, the results of the women's tag team match later on Raw, they had a rematch. It was the Riot Squad versus the IIconics once again. And this time, a championship opportunity on the line, and no other stipulation whatsoever on the match. And the Riot Squad came out on top of that, and the only outcome from that match was that the Riot Squad are now number one contenders.
Yeah, they get a future tag title match. Doesn't say when they'll get it, though. But I'm not going to let you off the hook that easily.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is all that happened.
The other stipulation of the match was the other team that lost had to break up.
No, that didn't happen.
And so the IIconics are no more.
That was a fever dream that collectively millions of people all had at one time. I knew it was bad. I don't often watch Raw live, right? Time zones and stuff like that, but I watched it live. I saw the little graphic in the corner, and when it said the losers break up, it was bad news. There was no way that was going out good for Grady.
No, especially since they just put the Riot Squad back together.
The writing was on the wall. It's been
on the wall since the slap heard around New Zealand and Australia.
They could have fixed it. They could have repaired it. It was possible.
No, now they're going to get killed in the Raw Underground.
Yeah. That was at least funny. We can talk about that. The completely and utterly still together IIconics had a little bit of a misunderstanding, and Peyton Royce ended up throwing Billy Kay to the literal wolves in Raw Underground. But they'll patch it up. They're not going to patch it up, are they?
No, they're not.
I realized that I'm like trying to make myself cry, and I'm really close to it, but that this isn't a video thing. This is radio, and so I did that all for nothing. But just know, Grady is crying. The world is crying, or Australasia is crying. But I guess we might as well mention the women's tag championships while we're here. And I go and grab a tissue. The titles are on the line at Payback. It was the Golden Role Models defending them against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax.
And we have Team Hell No 2.0, the female version.
We got the two people who don't want to working together, and they hold the championship gold.
While also claiming to be the tag team champion.
Yeah. To be fair, Shayna Baszler did all the work. In terms of
at least that's what she says. Yeah, in terms of the finish. But Nia did a lot of work to get them there. But yeah, that was a really innovative finish with the double submission and using Sasha's arm to finish the submission to get Bayley to tap out.
Yeah, it was real neat. It was something that, I hadn't seen, and I was like, this is cool. And it got Shayna across as well as one of those, people claim to be a submission expert or like a real technical wrestler. It's like, that gets you across pretty quickly as someone who's knowledgeable with the submissions.
That reminds me of when Daniel Bryan tapped out Randy Orton using a kendo stick on his crossface finisher.
Yeah, it's neat to see those little variations that is like, that's cool, that's something new, and that's interesting to watch. But yeah, so going forward, we know that it will be Jax and Baszler taking on the Riot Squad at some point. We don't know that it'll be at Clash of Champions. We don't know who will be heading into that as champion or challenger or anything like that just yet.
All we know is right now we're looking at pure fun from the tag team division with their champions. 'Cause I think this is going to be a fun ride while it lasts.
But not fun with their Australians. For those who are unawares, Clash of Champions is our next big show. For the main roster guys, it is going to be on September 27th. So we've got roughly 1, 2, 3 more weeks of content before we get there. But that is what we are building towards. And we got a bit of a fast track to some of those matches. Because earlier in Payback, Bobby Lashley is the new United States champion.
And I don't think anybody was surprised here.
No, we were surprised last week. We're not surprised this week.
Yeah. It makes sense. Bobby Lashley is probably the one that could do the most with the title. And it's definitely leaning towards something happening with the Hurt Business here shortly. I think they're going to get another member, and I think it's going to be somebody we didn't expect.
So not
I don't
Cedric.
think it's going to be Cedric. So I don't think it's going to be Cedric, no.
Okay.
I think it's, to be honest, I think it's going to be Ricochet.
Okay. Is that just because of your Ricochet bias?
No, it's just a vibe I'm getting. It's like, I think they want to maybe surprise people with whoever they add. And I think everybody and their mother knows is picking Cedric to join. So I'm thinking that Ricochet will turn on Cedric whenever he gets a shot at the U.S. title.
Yeah. I think, because I was taking a look at, what are all the divisions like in the WWE right now, and the Raw Tag Team division is pretty empty. There's not a whole lot there. So I could definitely see some extra member moving into the Hurt Business and potentially making a run for those titles off the Street Profits.
Yeah, Lord knows we need somebody to face them because there's just Andrade and Garza right now.
Yeah.
And they can only face them so long before it's like, well, we need somebody new. How about somebody from the Hurt Business?
Yeah. Well, the point is, right, the other people they had was the Viking Raiders, but that was done to death. That was completely finished. And now it seems like Angel and Garza are pretty much finished. But along with your suggestion there of potentially Ricochet converting over, you've just put in my head the team of Shelton Benjamin and Ricochet, which sounds utterly amazing to me.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Sheldon, or with MVP and Ricochet as a tag team. And have Sheldon still go chasing after the 24/7 title. And then you can still have all 4 members with gold.
It's true. That is definitely true. What's our time like? Let's slot in our entrance theme here. It is in commemoration of a friendship that is still blossoming and strong and not finishing in any way. We will be playing the IIconics theme song. Okay? It is not a sad song. We are playing it because we are happy. And you're back to the Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. We still have quite a bit to get through from Payback and the fallout on Raw. So let's just kick off into a couple of singles matches that we had from SmackDown. The first of which, Big E defeated Sheamus.
Yeah, emphatic win for our newly single member of the New Day.
Big E is going strong since splitting into the singles. And I'm interested to see what his ceiling is going to be in the near future.
This was a great match, too, as well. Sheamus is really underrated. He's one of the best workers. He can work with anybody.
I love him.
And so yeah, what can I say? It's Big E's got that slow burn. Eventually it's going to ignite the rocket. But it's on its way.
Yeah. And if we're talking about rockets, we've also got the other singles match from SmackDown as well. Matt Riddle defeating King Corbin after Corbin's been going at him for weeks.
Yeah, I figured I lobbed up a segue for you, but you missed it.
Yeah, I miss him all the time.
Yeah, this was a great.
I just got it. I just got it.
This was a great match. I think Riddle's a star in the making, and Corbin is like Sheamus, can go with anybody. And he, no matter how many times he loses, he still keeps his heat, which is the mark of a true heel.
To me, this is probably the most interesting division piece, or the most complex piece of the puzzle, because you've got Jeff Hardy holding the Intercontinental title. You got Sami Zayn returning, saying, "No, I'm seriously the Intercontinental Champion." You got AJ Styles still trying to finish off his feud with Jeff Hardy. You got Big E making waves here in the mid-card. You got Baron Corbin with Shorty G by his side. You got Daniel Bryan with Drew Gulak by his side. Sheamus is around. Matt Riddle's on the rise. This SmackDown mid-card to upper mid-card is bustling at the moment.
Yeah, definitely got all the talent for it, that's for sure. What can we say? We should be very interested in seeing how all this shakes out.
There's many different ways for Clash of Champions that we could potentially see the SmackDown side of things with their mid-card end up. We just don't know yet.
The only thing we know is that every title will be defended on the pay-per-view.
I do wonder if that counts the 24/7?
At some point it'll happen.
Yeah, it's true. It existed last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Jumping back to Payback. Let's get talking about the Raw main event scene. And let's pick Dominic and Rey Mysterio first off. They have the longest match of the night. Tag team match continue to telling the story with Seth Rollins and Murphy. The Mysterios pick up a win. Seth starts getting a rift between him and Murphy. And Rey Mysterio ends up popping an injury.
Yeah, this was a great tag team match. Once again, Dominic held his own. And it advanced the story. I'm not sure where it can go after Raw, but we're definitely got the potential here for a megastar in the future. With Dominic. Dominic, I think's got the pieces. We need to see how he can do on his own on the microphone, but it's the in-ring stuff is there.
Yeah, I've been I haven't been quiet about how much I've liked this storyline between the Mysterios and Rollins. And I think they're just developing it more and more. As you say, Raw complicates it a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about the match just before this on Payback, before we talk more holistically about the Raw main event, which saw Keith Lee defeat Randy Orton.
And here's where the softball I lobbed to you comes into play. Because we were talking about a rocket. Well, they launched a rocket pack on Keith Lee with this match.
To the moon.
Yep. He beat Orton at arguably his best, and it looks like the Spirit Bomb is going to be his finisher on the main roster. I guess because it's too close. His regular finisher in NXT is too close to either Braun's or Big E's finishers. So, yeah, I'm fine with with the Spirit Bomb being a finisher.
Yeah, I love a good power bomb.
Yeah, and definitely looks impactful when it's delivered by Keith.
Mm.
With him going over clean as a whistle on Randy Orton. The moon is the limit for the limitless one.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Keith Lee cannot achieve. I believe he could be a WWE champion within a year.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately believe that now.
But I guess not within the next month, because they had a series of matches on Raw. We had 3 matches, the winners of which went into a triple threat number 1 contendership match. The first match saw Keith Lee defeating Dolph Ziggler, which got him into that triple threat. The next match saw Randy Orton defeating Kevin Owens after we got a little bit of an Aleister Black interference. Potentially our next storyline, I imagine, for those two. And then later on in the night, the thing we sort of talked about a little already, Seth Rollins defeated Dominic. It was meant to be Rey Mysterio, but due to his injuries, he was subbed out. So Seth ends up defeating Dominic.
And in the process, banned Murphy from ringside. Furthering that storyline. They were some good matches in these series of matches here, except for, obviously, Orton versus Kevin Owens, because that lasted 4 seconds. But overall, I do think that everything that needed to happen happened on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to the triple threat.
Yeah, I think a lot of storylines advance, you're right, whether it's the Rollins-Murphy, whether it's the Owens-Black one, and then, we get to the triple threat, and it ends in a way where Keith Lee looks very strong. He put Seth Rollins down for the 1, 2, 3. It just wasn't him that covered him.
Yeah, they sold over his finisher with this finish, because he was the one that did the damage, and then instead of being pinned, when Orton comes in and RKO's him, Orton actually pushes him out of the ring and pins Seth to sell how powerful of a finisher the Spirit Bomb is, when you all know that the RKO can and does beat people with just one hit.
Yeah. Orton didn't trust that and would way rather pin Rollins after the Spirit Bomb. So yeah, I think it propels Keith. Some people might be sitting there going like, oh man, Keith Lee didn't win. It's like, he still looks super good.
He had his moments where he was just a monster, and you took both of them to put him down at times, and it just, the fact that he did not take the pinfall, and that it was his finisher that won the match, says everything you need to know about what they think of Keith Lee.
Mm-hmm.
They had to protect him. That's why Seth was in the match. Seth was there to take the fall so that Keith Lee didn't have to.
Yeah. And I guess, if we're looking at it, Randy Orton has supposedly put Drew McIntyre on the shelf for a little while, and the storyline, I guess, is will Drew McIntyre be ready for Clash of Champions to defend his title against Randy Orton? That's the one match we have booked for Clash at the time of recording. And do you think that match is going to change in the next 3 weeks, or do you think we are going to head into Clash with the marquee saying Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre?
I think we will. I think that will be the title match. I'm not sure what we're going to do for Keith Lee, but it's definitely. I think that's the story. That's the outcome we need to have at the pay-per-view. We need to have Orton versus McIntyre Part 2.
With McIntyre winning?
No.
No, I heard with McIntyre winning, and then you said yes.
No.
Okay, I can dub over your voice.
It's definitely going to be Orton winning this time.
I don't believe you.
That's the only reason they would make a change to the match is to ensure Orton wins the match.
When is Edge back? Random question.
No idea.
I don't remember the timeline on his return, but it might play into my predictions come Clash of Champions 3 weeks from now. Let's roll all the way back to Payback. Main event. It's a no-holds-barred triple threat match for the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus The Fiend versus Braun Strowman. Roman Reigns has been playing hardball this whole time with the contract, now with Paul Heyman by his side. Match starts off, it's just Fiend and Strowman. They fight. They collapse the ring, do a lovely little ring collapsing spot there. And then the big dog shows up.
Yeah. If there was any doubts as to what his alignment was going into this pay-per-view, they are settled. Roman Reigns is full-blown heel. And they did it perfectly in what they had to do for this match. It was for the best that Reigns did not start the match in the match.
Mm-hmm.
They let them go. They let Braun and the Fiend go. They do the ring claps, which you could see coming a mile away.
What do you mean the apron wasn't LEDs?
Oh, I never noticed that. I just know I literally said like 15 seconds before it happened, they're about to break the ring. And they broke the ring. And then a heel Roman finally signs his contract and goes down. He can't score the fall right away, but eventually a spear to the Fiend, get him out of the ring, a spear to Braun, and then he demanded the referee count faster as the 1, 2, 3 occurred. I think this is going to be a fun run. We're going to get to see what Roman can really do. Because when you're a heel, there are much less of a limiter on you, on what you can do, what you can say. So I'm really looking forward to this. Having Heyman is fine. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll enhance his gimmick, I guess, of wrecking everything and leaving, because he doesn't have to be there every week. And also, once again, another show where he's on it, Retribution is not.
You have this theory and you're sticking to it.
Yeah, why not? I think that they're going to reveal him as the leader eventually of Retribution.
Okay.
As I said last week, would not be the first time a group was created in order to protect Heyman's champion.
Yeah. It is definitely possible. My big questions with Roman Reigns, Universal Champion. He's got Clash of Champions ahead of him. What lies in front of him? I know this question might already be answered by the time this airs because of SmackDown, but who do you think's going to be laying in front of him as a challenger?
It almost has to be the Fiend, at least for Clash of Champions, because the Fiend wasn't pinned. He was the previous champion for a week. So I really think that, and now the Fiend technically will be face because of being robbed of his championship by a heel Roman. So we'll have to see how that develops. How does the character perform as a hero rather than a villain, as we've seen in the last 2 years?
Yeah, and it's some interesting choices of words there in terms of a hero instead of a villain, because they're heavily leaning into this Alexa Bliss, Harley Quinn thing now. As much as you may or may not want to acknowledge it, they are leaning into it.
It is what it is.
And so that also is gonna, in a way, however it develops, change the Fiend character as well.
Yeah.
And might play a factor in his match at Clash if he gets it.
Yeah, but we'll have to see But I definitely think that there'll be a clash between The Fiend and Roman here shortly to get that out of the way. Then you can have Roman focus going forward before eventually getting to WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it will be Roman Reigns versus Keith Lee for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania.
Okay. That's a bold call. I'll let you have it. You're always around this time of year. You start throwing out these crazy calls for like 6 months down the line. Quite a good track record too. Begrudgingly,
the other option is Roman Reigns versus Big E. But I think that's a little too obvious.
So, I'll let you have it. I'll let you lay your prediction down. But that is going to be the end of the show, because it's all we've got time for. It's been great talking to you.
Bye-bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio. And we'll see you next week.